This video covers the following topics of junk journaling. First, how to make a mess on my table / in my whole room within a really short amount of time. Second, how to get so much paint to your fingers that it would have been enough to paint your whole room. Third, how to overcome perfectionism, a really popular topic when it comes to junk journaling, if you ask me. And last but not least, how to recreate a masterpiece without freaking out completely. Hi there, this is Luisa Heinzel. Welcome to my channel Junk Journal Art. Welcome to this video and welcome to this. This is another video of my little series about my construction site / move journal about my move. If you have missed the other videos of this series, you can find a playlist linked down below this video. And in case you are new here, it's really nice to see you here. Be prepared for some strange things. The people who already know me know what is going to happen here and what can happen. You know, some kind of catastrophes. I think if you follow me for a longer time, you are already prepared for catastrophes if you watch my videos. Today, I wanted to do something that I had in my mind when I did the other things, or some of the other things, for my newest journal. So in case you're new here, let me quickly explain where we are and what we have here and what we want to do today. So what you can see here are 3 loose signatures which shall become my new journal, and this journal shall document my move and also the things that went on the construction site. And all of this is stuff that I could find on the construction site. Old wallpaper, this here for example, even more old wallpaper or older wallpaper. This is really old. And some packaging material, for example. Here's a piece of a ticket for a concert which I couldn't visit because of this whole situation. Here's some really old newspaper which I could find below the floor when we removed the floor to make a new floor that was suddenly there, and I was of course really happy that I could find something like that there. In my first video of this series, I show you all of these materials in detail. So if you have missed that, then please check out the playlist and watch that video. Perhaps that can be an inspiration for you as well, where to find like trashy, unusual materials for your junk journal. I have, in one of my last videos, made some things. These I made in the German video, but that really doesn't matter, because when I layered all of these things here, I also thought, why don't I take some paint and paint to some materials I found on the construction site and then use that as more layers. Yeah, so I have made these and cut them out so that I now can use them as a decorative piece here or element on the page. And I made these by stamping with materials I found on the construction site. And that is the main idea behind that. Because when you find things for making a journal, that is not always paper what you find. Yeah, this is nice. Wallpaper or like gift bags. So this plastic thing is a gift bag, or it was a gift bag. That is nice because you can directly include them into your journal and there's no problem with including them. But what if you find things which are not so easily includable? Is that a word? For example, this, a piece of pipe, something from a light. So here you can see there's already paint on it because I have stamped with it, so please don't be confused. or some metal, which is really like not flexible, yeah, so really hard to handle in a journal. Some cables, for example, we had to replace the whole electricity in the new apartment, so these, I have tons of these. If someone needs cables, then please let me know. I have some really big screws, which are really hard to include into a journal because, you know, they are really fat. I could, of course, sew them to the cover or so, yeah, but I don't know yet if that is possible. So what can you do if you have things like that, which are not flat and which you can't just glue to a page? So I came to the idea to stamp with them. And then, as I said, I had these little guys, and I thought I want to have more of this, but not only in this abstract way like these are, but also in a more like botanical way, like flowers or so, because I thought I want to lift my mood a little bit. I need flowers in my life, yeah, and in my journal. I wanted to have something next to this really trashy theme, which makes me happy. So that was the starting point for this whole thing. And as you can see, I have already some things here, and this is something that we will make in a similar way in this video. I have some more here from my German video. So if you want to see how these came to life, please watch the German video, which I uploaded today. You can see how these came to life. I want to make something similar in this video, but they will probably turn out a little differently because, you know, these are unique and they are one of a kind, yeah. So, but that is what you can expect, what we are going to do here. And this, of course, you can recreate at home with things that you might find in your house, because all of these things are like normal household things, yeah. I can imagine that you can find something really similar and that you can also do something like this. So let's try this. Let's just try this. This is just some black acrylic paint. This is really, really black. And that is what I wanted to have for this, because somehow I had the feeling that it has to be, yeah, that it needs to be really, really black. But please, you can do that with brown or whatever you want as well. So let's change the direction of this. I have this little plastic strip here. This was something where some materials for the construction site have been like tied together. So you could even take a small, not small, thin piece of plastic, for example, from a food packaging or something like that. But please make sure, if you want to do it like I do it here, that the material you choose is really flexible. So it has to be able to do something like this, because now I want to take this and I put that into my paint here, just like this. Make sure that you don't have too much paint on here, but that is also something you have to, yeah, like practice a little bit, I think. And then you press it to the paper. And now I try with this hand here to make a little leaf by doing this. As you can see, not so successful. Don't freak your freak, just do it again. Trust the process. Just take a little more paint. We can even make another shape here with this little strip. That's the reason why it should be flexible. You can even go over this multiple times to get something like this, but then this here gets automatically a little thicker as well, but trust the process. Now I can say that really easily, but to be honest, an hour ago or so, I was like close to freaking out because this didn't work. And I tried several different things to make this work, and there seemed to be no solution for this idea. But then I learned something, and I want to share this here with you, of course. So this looks a little bit like a palm leaf or so. And if you want to have a stem to later on make some blossoms, you can just take this and find the right shape press it down, lift it up, and then you have this little stem thingy. So let's do 3 or so, or perhaps even here, a little one here, like this. I think that looks really good. So I'm going to take this and then take it off here to let that dry. So let's try to make another kind of arrangement. What you also could do is you could take, if you have such a long strip of something, you could also take your scissors and cut that a little smaller, then it's easier to handle, and you can make smaller arrangements, of course. So let's bend this a little bit, and let's try to make another leaf. Take my left hand and do it like this. Take that off carefully. As you can see, with a little bit of practice, this is relatively easy. Oh, that looks nice. Okay. So let's make some, let's do it like this perhaps. Some stems for the blossoms. I know this is really a little weird. Ooh, perhaps we could even try to make them like regular, like straight, not regular, but straight. But let's save that idea for another one. So perhaps we can do this here to not waste our paper. Is it possible? I'm wondering, is it possible to... let me take another sheet. I don't know if I need more space. So of course we can use the leftovers of this paper for something else later. Let me try something. What if I do it like this, and then I will move my right hand down. Ooh, holy crap. And do it in the other direction. Let me try to take this and line it up parallelly to this, which is already existing here. And the other one like this, and then let's try to move the left hand up. What is that? That is art. This is really uncontrollable. Oh my goodness. If you are a perfectionist, Barbara, listen carefully. Then please try this, because this is really, really good for, you know, getting rid of those feelings that you sometimes might have if you are a perfectionist. This is good. Okay, we are going to let that dry. Let's take this back. That is like, you know, nearly dry. I think we can go on with this. And the main problem I had with this was, let me show you something. These are the stamp impressions I can get with the materials I have laying around here. So the only thing that is missing on this like swatch thingy is this shape here of this, you can't see it, of this metal thing. But the other things I have taken and I have pressed them to the paper to make this stamp impression. And what you can see here is that it is like nearly always the same shape. It's round. Often it is like a circle with a white thing in the middle, or some negative space in the middle, like an opening or so. But it gives not so much visual interest somehow. But we can use our fingers to make something interesting as well, in combination with the things we have here. So let me show you what I mean. So let's try this pipe. Let's put that into the paint. Let's then take our fingers like this, so that the fingers are a little higher than the pipe. We press this into the paint again, so that the fingers get some paint as well, and press it down so that we get the impression of the pipe and our fingers. Can you see? That looks a little bit like a candy. if you take this pipe, or in my case, if I take this pipe and I just press it down, I get something like this. But if I use that over and over again, I will get the same impression every single time. And this, for example, was made with this pipe as well, and I find that boring if I have the same shape on all of my pieces. So let's try this again. Let's take this, and you can also, of course, do that in one step. Take this and press your fingers and the pipe into the paint. I've just done it separately so that you can understand better what I'm doing here. Here you can see I've also changed the direction of this little blossom. So it's now like so. Here it's like this. Can you see? And of course you can... yes, you can, but we won't do that. So let me quickly put one here to this little thing. And as you can see, this gets really irregular and not always the same. And that is what, in my eyes, makes this interesting. This now has not so much detail, tiny detail. So let's take this little guy here and let's just... This looks weird, I know. Trust the process. Let's just bring in some details. And this looks a lot now, but I found something out which I find really, really cool. But before I show you that, I will take this cable and I want to... Oh, my paint has dried a little bit. Before I started here, my electricity was gone. So you see the video in one go, but I had some problems, so that's why my paint is a little dry. But that shouldn't be your problem. So I want to have some dots somewhere to bring in some details. And I would be really interested in, I mean, perhaps you have to watch the video to the end first, but I'm so nervous because I want to know your opinion about this kind of, yeah, what is this? Making memories somehow. Because sometimes I get comments below my videos that you watch the video and that you like the video, but sometimes the people say, okay, nice idea, but I don't know why I should do that. I don't get it. This white gesso is also really dry. Let me quickly replace that. For these dots it has to be really liquid so that this is nice. I mean, of course, for this step, for example, you could use a dotting tool. And why the heck should you take something like this? I even have a dotting tool. And I also know where it is, even if I have problems finding my things because of this move situation. But for me, this is way more valuable. I think that is the word. Because this is made with things from my new apartment, and with that it gets more worth to me. And I would be really interested in your opinion about that, because, you know, I make these videos here and of course I sit here and I think hopefully the people will like this. And I mean, I do this for myself as well. Yeah, this is something like my journey, which I share with you here, but of course I want to give you videos that you like. Yeah, that is always, I don't want to say a struggle, but something that I have in my mind, of course, and that is important to me, because why am I doing this? Yeah, I want you to be happy with my videos and I want you to be inspired. But how is that possible? That is only possible, let's take this screw, when I know what you think about this. I take my hand and put that under the paper here, because I know that this screw is a little hard to handle, because there's so much paint from the walls from my apartment on the screw that the surface is not completely flat, and that makes it hard to stamp. Oh, what to do here? Yeah, so it would be really helpful for me to know if you see in this project what I see here, and that is a cool way on how you could make memories. Do you see that as well, or is this weird for you? I don't know. I really don't know. Sometimes I think it's even weird for myself. How could the people like this? So let's do some more of these, because I really like these black centers. But even if this already looks really cool, I think we can make this even cooler. But let's first take this one. I want to have some more details somehow. So let's perhaps first take this little guy again. And let's press that with these little round things close to the stem. For example, like this. The more paint the more I stamp with these, the more paint comes into these little openings, but that's okay for me, because this way I have this thing for stamping, and the stamp impression changes with the time, and that is really nice, because then I get more stamp impressions and different stamp impressions with this one thing. Oh, the second, third and fourth generation of this also looks really cool. Oh my goodness, look. Oh, can you see that? Oh, let's do more. This looks really weird now. Please, please, please trust the process. Because we will cut this out with some thinking how to cut that out. And that way we will get rid of some of these things, and we can decide which of those we want to leave, and then it looks really cool in the end. Please believe me. But what about some details? Let's take this nail. No. Let's take this cable here. This has this metal wire here, and it is relatively thin. Let me check something. How to do that? Okay, let's see. I want to have some tiny, oh, I'm afraid. Something like this. Some tiny things here. Like this. Oh yeah, okay, that is good. That is very good. Haha, okay, that is nice. Can we do something similar here? Or can we here perhaps even use this thing again? Yeah. And you could even use these things here, which you have like this test area. You could even use that for your journal later. Just, you know, great piece of collage fodder. Just tear it off and use it for a collage. Then I think that can look really, really nice. Perhaps we can take this little guy and use our fingers again. That is also this thing I have also used to make this and these and this. Really versatile little thing. And I thought perhaps we can... Ooh, there's perhaps really black. Oh, okay. Let's take the second generation. Perhaps... Ooh! Here. Well, you get what you get. Where's my nail? Let's take the nail, or the head of the nail. Let's put a little dot here and a dot here. Perhaps another one here. And this little piece of plastic has this little, yeah, looks a little bit like a chocolate bar, as you can see. So let's see if we can get something of this as well. Perhaps like this. Okay, so when we have all of this and we are happy with that, we are going to let this dry. So when I cut this out, I try to leave a really irregular white frame. I try to follow this black shape, but at the same time I try to do this a little irregular, and I also try to, yeah, I will show you that in another spot. Here it is a little hard to show. Here, for example, where this little smear is, you can of course decide to cut this off, but then you would get like something grayish to the frame, like here. So this doesn't bother me, but if I would cut around here, there would be a lot of this gray stuff. So you can decide for a shape of the leaf and then just go along here, like this, for example. And then you have the shape of the leaf with a little more white. I think that looks also really nice. Let's go in here carefully to bring out some more details. And here I want to have a bigger space. And now, yeah, now I try to imagine what I want to cut off and what I want to leave. In this case, I want to leave this and this little dot, but I want to cut this off to get a little more, yeah, a bigger opening here, so that it looks more interesting later on my page where I want to glue it. And this way you can determine how the shape of this whole thing shall look in the end, and what you want to leave and what you want to cut off. And I think that is really interesting. And if you don't try to talk and explain this, it's really relaxing as well. Please believe me. And I think this is also a great thing to, yeah, to try to imagine how something can look. In my last video I have talked about this phenomenon that Barbara at 49 Dragonflies often says to me, and she says that in her videos as well, that she doesn't have such a clear picture of the end result when she starts a project. And she says she has to do one step and then she has to see what she has on her desk, and then she can decide what she wants to do next. And I also talked about how different my brain works, and that I sometimes wish that my brain would work like hers. Because if I cut something off here, it has gone. I can't bring it back. Yeah, it's not a like Photoshop computer program where I can press some keys and then the step I made is redone. And that is good for me, because that way I can learn a lot about myself and what I do here. But at the same time, I can try to imagine now how this would look if I would, for example, cut this off, or cut both of these off, or cut everything off. And that is something like this thing that, you know, Barbara has a hard time with, because Barbara, how do you think? What do you think about this? I mean, if you look at this, can you imagine, without doing it, how it would look if both of these would be gone? Is that possible in your brain? I mean, that sounds so mean. I don't mean that bad, yeah, but I try to imagine what is going on in the brain of other people, because I experience so often that you write in the comments below my videos that you wish to understand how my brain works, and sometimes things for me are completely obvious. Of course, I also struggle with things. Of course, if that wouldn't be the fact, then I would consider myself an alien or something like that. But I try to understand what is going on in the brains of other people, to also, of course, make my content better and to get a better connection to all of you with my videos. And when I explain something here, of course, I try my best to explain what is going on in my head, but that doesn't mean automatically that you can do that with your kind of creative thinking as well. And that is why I ask so weird questions. And this is really crazy. I've already showed Barbara a picture of the first round of doing this. That was when I recorded my German video, and she liked these plans, and I'm really excited what she will think when she sees them in the journal. It's always really exciting when you see someone else doing something and you are inspired. And I mean, this is nothing that Barbara has done in her videos, yeah, but somehow she inspired me to do this. And I find that so fascinating, because this is inspired by her, but it is inspired even if she hasn't done something like this. That is so crazy. So, yeah. It is also a good idea, especially when you have those straight stems, that you take your scissors and go a little bit like this. I do it here, so that you have this tiny bit of irregular cutting somehow. Then this whole thing looks not so, yeah, boring and straight. What to do with this thing? Oh, this is a lot of black here, isn't it? But what you also can do is you can first cut out everything that you can see here. So don't cut anything off from the pattern. Just to imagine how this will look later. And if you can't imagine that, take a page from your journal. Place this down. Perhaps you already know on which page you want to put that, and then you can just place it down. I have to press it. And then you can see, you know, the whole arrangement. And if this is too much, or if you want to leave it. I think in this case I want to first leave this. And that is also a trick, of course. You can first cut these out like they are and leave, like, you know, everything. And when you know to which page you want to put these, then just cut off what you don't like or what doesn't fit to the page. That is also a trick. because once you've cut it off, it's gone, you know, you can't bring it back. I mean, you could, of course, bring it back by gluing it back to the piece, but I mean, that would look a little bit weird, I think. Okay, so then we have this thing. This is so weird. What do you think about this? This even looks like little faces somehow. Here we have these three like massive black blossoms, and I did these for balancing the black a little bit. As you can see, the leaves here are not so extremely white, so the black is not so extremely here. So I wanted to balance that a little bit, but we have 4 of these in each of these impressions, because this little guy had 4 of these things, and I think 4 is always a little difficult to handle. Would be better to have only 3 of these little dots in each of those arrangements. So let's see what we can do with the number of these and also with the intensity. Let's see. Let's first go along this outer line here, and I will leave this, but I will cut this and this off because these are not so close to the stem here, and it looks like they are, you know, just falling off or so. And I think that is not so nice. And here are a ton of these, so we have to get rid of some of them to not overload this little plant. So let's cut these off. Let's then go around here. And I also think it really helps when you first cut around the like outline and determine the outline of this thing. Let's get rid of this dark thing. I think we don't need that. And also the others which are far away from this stem, like so. Oh my goodness, hopefully you can see anything. I have really problems to control what you see and cut at the same time, because I have to look with one of my eyes to my iPad to see what is in my frame. But on the other side, with the other eye, I have to... oh my goodness, I have to look to my paper. Perhaps I can, so that you can see it better, hold it like so, so that you can see what I have cut off. Can you see? And if you see it like this, and then like this suddenly makes sense, doesn't it? I find that really fascinating. So let's go on. Let's first finish our little outline here. I want to have an easy job to glue these down later, because the most of my pages are not so smooth. Let's cut this. Which one shall we cut off? I want to have only 3. 1, 2, 3. I want to cut this one off. I'm so sorry. My pages are not so smooth. I have a ton of texture from the different materials and from the techniques I have done. And because of that, my pages are not flat. And that means if I have really delicate things to glue on, I would have a really hard job to do that. And I want to think about that while I cut these out as well, so that the single pieces are not too thin. Here, for example, can you see? This is already pretty thin, but I don't want to go thinner than this is. Otherwise, it will drive me crazy later to glue these things down. Okay, let's leave it like it is. And then I will also quickly cut this out. So these little guys are ready to be used in this journal. And I'm sitting here and I have the feeling no matter where I place these, they always look great. That is fascinating. And that is definitely something that I experience not so often. But I will not glue these little plants down yet for two different reasons. The first reason is that I want to take my other materials, which are still laying around here on my table. So I will show you some examples so that you can imagine what I'm talking about here. For example, these packages here, this is from a perfume. This as well, this was inside of this box. And here, for example, I have this little card, and I also have other materials which I could turn into some kind of collage fodder as well. Because what is this, what we made today? In my eyes, it's nothing else than collage fodder, yeah, so that I have a little stash that I then later on can use when I want to decorate the pages in my journal. So I thought it's a good idea to take the other materials I have and turn them into collage fodder as well first before I glue these, so that I have more things to play with when I want to decorate the pages. I told you that I also want to print out some photos, so I thought it's perhaps a good idea to have some other materials to make little collages with the photos, and that's the reason why I don't glue these down now, but I will put them there to my shelf, you know, a little box or so, into a little box. Also, and then I will first turn all of the other materials into some unique pieces, and then later on I use everything for making the collages with my photos and like work in the journal, yeah, so that I don't have to start this collage fodder making process from zero every single time I sit down here, but I want to have a variety of things I can use later. This here, for example, screams labels, little tags or journaling cards, and yeah, I want to do that next, and you will see that of course in one of my next videos as well, how I do that. And the second reason why I don't want to glue these down yet is that I know you and I know that there are some people out there who now scream to their phone or their TV or wherever you watch this video, Louise, please turn this into a digital paper for us. And of course, I hear you. And as you can imagine, I already was on my computer. And here I'm back with this printable. I call this Found Object Florals. So everyone who watches this video knows why this printable is called like this. Because, you know, we have made the florals out of found objects. All of the other people who will visit my my shop will not understand this title, but you know, you understand it. So these are 8 pages in total, and I have tried to get some like a little bit different, but at the same time matching vibes into this printable. So let me show you what you can get with this. Before I flip through the pages, let me quickly tell you something. What you will not have on your print. Perhaps you can see this weird orange thing here on the frame of the page and here as well. I think I printed these pages for like 50 times or so, but my printer was not willing to give me a good print. I think that my printer was in my room like unused for a time that was too long for it or so, I don't know. But this is only something that is on my print here. You will not get that when you print this out. Yeah, so it's just a fail of my printer. Also here, I'm really annoyed by that because this looks just so weird, but please please be sure that you don't get this. Yeah, it's just because my printer didn't work so well. But this is what you can get with this printable. The link is, of course, down below in the description box. And I tried to get, of course, my little things in here and also some elements in the background, which I also have in my journal, but this is like, you know, it's from a vintage botanical book. It's not what I painted, or I haven't drawn these by myself, but I wanted to have something in the background that reminds to what I have in my journal. So for example, where do we have that? Where's this page with this here? I tried to make something like this because I thought I wanted to have some like botanical stuff in the background to then be able to use one of my plants here and glue them on top so that this thing in the background is here and then this little floral element is here. And that is why I have done that here as well, because I'm also planning to use these printables here in my journal. And I thought, and I decided for that because I thought, how the heck can I journal on these pages? Some of those pages are flat, and here, for example, on this wallpaper, journaling would be no problem. But some of the pages are really textured, so it would be hard to journal on them. And to have some more journaling space in this journal and also more variety, I thought I want to use these in the journal as well. I still have to decide how to include them because, you know, we have made the binding or the preparation for the binding, this like little hinge thingy with the fabric, and I'm not so sure how this can work, but I will think about that, and then you will see that also in one of the next videos. And I also have to print something to the back because these are still white back sides of the papers, but just so you know that I want to include these as well and that you will see them in the next videos as well. And I will use these then for journaling in the journal. And I also made some background pages. So as you can see, you know, I mean, you could journal on this. Just add some white gesso here, for example, and then you could even journal on a page like this. But these are mainly meant as like background pages, collage papers. You could tear them up and use them as collage fodder as well. You could also cut these individually so that you can use them like strips for belly bands or whatever. I also have this background page, and this has something special. Can you see these little floral elements there? And that is nothing else than the pattern of this really old wallpaper. I have scanned that and then I have put that over this crinkled paper, and you can find this pattern on this background page as well. So here you can see it. So I thought that is a nice addition that we then have, you know, this connection here. So I hope you like this. You will find the link, as I said, down below in the description box. Have fun with this and see you the next time. Bye bye.